Now let's check what you have to say about this morning's news via email and Twitter, and we'll start with Don from Port Macquarie, who says, where are the bleeding hearts following the cowardly Taliban murder of innocent and unarmed medical staff in Afghanistan?
From Louise in the Riverina, Julie Bishop is a breath of fresh air. She should have been Australia's first woman Prime Minister. Hopefully one day she'll be the longest serving.
Now from Tony, I think Tony Abbott lost many voters yesterday because it's now obvious he's going to bring back John Howard's way.
We've been practising for this from Benny in Melbourne, Larry Latham, Mo Gillard and Curly Rudd. A three-ring circus, all starring in a three-ring circus. Whack, 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 whack.
Well
Does that get that right?
Well, that's your version
it's
of it anyway.
There. Whack, whack, whack.
It is,
yes.
It is.
From Sean in Mackay, one of the easiest ways to improve school attendance is to link it with family tax benefit payments.
Now from Edward in Bathurst, as a recovering alcoholic, I was disgusted to see that Coles and Woolworths have been allowed to sell home-brand alcohol products.
From Walter in Gippsland, a few weeks ago Tony Abbott said it was inappropriate for the opposition to have discussions with Nauru. Have I missed something, or does Tony Abbott think he's already Prime Minister?
Now from Bob, having heard that Tony Abbott offered nothing in his campaign address, I can't help but think of Roger Federer. He says, just keep the ball in play and let the opponent make the mistakes. And from Stephen, he writes, in response to an earlier email about Tony Abbott meeting the president of Nauru, if Tony Abbott is making promises that involve a foreign government, it's entirely appropriate for him to engage that government first.
From Michael, from Leongatha, Tony Abbott as leader would be like George Bush. The longer he's in power, the more people will wonder, what have we done?
Now on email, we need to ask Julia Gillard, where are the houses promised last election for Indigenous Australians?
And from Anne, Tony Abbott has a degree in economics and was a Rhodes Scholar. We need to remember this next time someone says he has a weakness with numbers.
Well, now let's check what you have to say about the morning's news via email and Twitter. John from Emu Park. All we hear from both parties is providing for the baby boomers. How about doing something for us older Aussies, the ones who fought to obtain compulsory super contributions in the first place?
Another John from Melbourne. While defending her encounter with Mark Latham, Julia Gillard said the PM is not a human interest story. John asks, if that was the case, what was her Women's Weekly feature meant to be?
On Twitter, so if a poly is on message, they're scripted, but if they're real, they're a maverick. Funny how some want it both ways.
Yes, welcome to the world of the media. And this, does Gillard know which Julia she is this week? I suppose it depends on whether Abbott's telling scripted lies or off-the-cuff ones.
Ouch. Now let's check what you have to say about the morning's news via email and Twitter. Firstly, from John in Melbourne, one of your emailers earlier suggested that Tony Abbott didn't show proper respect to Julia Gillard. Well, says John, everybody knows you must earn respect.
Sandy from Surrey Hills, I want to say that to that no means no to you, Mr. Rabbit. Her words, Julia Gillard shows more humanity, intelligence and genuine respect for all members of the community.
Now this one, Richard from the Gold Coast wants to know who will select the audience for Wednesday's Town Hall Forum with Julia Gillard and Tony Abbott. Well, Richard, we can tell you that the polling agency Galaxy is actually picking the audience members to ensure that it's not stacked, and we, of course, will be showing that live on Sky News from 6 p.m. here on Wednesday.
And on Twitter, the scandal isn't that Nine hired Latham as a journalist, but that Labor hired Latham as leader. Response to the news from you on email and Twitter from this morning. From Rosie, I'm furious about Julia Gillard's no school, no sport rule to combat truancy. The problem here is not the kids but the punishment. She's denying the children something that's of great benefit.
And from Rod, $10 million for a policy that stops kids from playing weekend sport. When do the parents take responsibility for their kids, or is that now the job of the government too?
From Tassie, to both leaders, I'm not interested in 2013. What are you offering me and my family now?
And on Twitter, went to the Ekka on the weekend and accidentally put a ping pong ball in Mark Latham's mouth.
Didn't stay there though.
No, obviously not.